Welcome to the Festival of Storytellers. I thank everybody that's involved with this process because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers.
Experience is not about the publisher, it is about us, the authors.
Hi, I'm Jill Fandrich, and I'm here with my friend, Will Brody.
Good morning.
Will, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
I traveled all the way from the sofa to here. And in case you're wondering why, it's Starbucks Thursday. And Jill and I, for a long time, have been getting together every Thursday morning. We trade stocks, among other things. Actually, Jill trades Forex. She does it very well. I bring the Starbucks. She bakes banana bread or whatever, and we have our little klatch. So she invited me over to share some klatch.
And Will is very good in stocks. And do you have an update for today?
At the moment, it's up 153, the Dow, which makes it difficult because the market was down for a couple, 3 days, and then it was up for a couple of 3 days. And then it reaches a point where, okay, it's up 153, you've made some money, now what? And you have to kind of sort through it. It's like, do we take the money and run, woo, 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 or do we just ride, let it ride? And so that's what I'm trying to decide.
See, I really value this man. I want to thank everyone for being here today. And I really want to thank Reader's Magnet for all they've done. They've done an amazing job with this whole program. And I'm just so honored to be a part of this. I am honored to be among all these talented authors. They've been amazing. I'm trying to get to every single booth, whether it's live or whether I watch a replay, but I am just amazed. Every single one of them is just absolutely wonderful, and everybody is so gifted and talented. I love just to be a part of this group, and Reader's Magnet has been absolutely wonderful. Everybody is so kind and helpful and very professional in all that they do. So I'm very honored to be here. I am the author of the trilogy of Elevate Your Mind to Success, Success is Elemental, and Who Connects Your Dots. This is a 3-part series, and it started with Elevate Your Mind to Success, and I just had so much to say, and it wasn't the end of the story, so I went on to Success is Elemental, and then Who Connects Your Dots. And then I wanted to add a medical aspect to Who Connects Your Dots. So I continued on with Medically Speaking, Who Connects Your Dots. And that adds a few more chapters from evidence-based reasoning. And so you'll have a medical aspect in this book here. And then I didn't want to leave anyone out. So I have students, Who Connects Your Dots. And this is any student from 11 to 100 plus. And it covers all kinds of topics in everyday life where you would need special kind of thinking, making decisions. This is an aid to help you make good decisions as well as analyze the truthfulness of information. And this is such an important aspect. And I make sure that you really get it when you're reading this book, because I have practical applications within every chapter and at the end of each chapter. So you are constantly getting the practice that you're going to be a pro by the end of these books. I make sure there's a lot of practicing that gets done in there. I'm glad you're back again today. Oh, thank you, John. I am so happy to be here today. And I'm happy to be here with my friend Will today, too. And so I've also written these 2 books. They're digital copies. And they're about, hi, Jill, we're on day 4, but the discussion still flows seamlessly. Well done. Thank you, Cassandra. It is so nice to see you here today, or to be with you today again. I look forward to seeing your name pop up there. And I just love spending this time with you. So these books are digital versions to help you boost your own immunity, because your own body's system is the best defense against any disease. So it's the best prevention, and I like to do it naturally. So if you naturally boost your immunity, you're going to be as healthy as you possibly can. And the last one is The Missing Variable, which I am putting down into writing. It's a very exciting book about that missing piece of the puzzle that we can't figure out why. So this is a good indication of many things that are beyond our control that we need to be aware of, and then how to resolve them and move on to further your own success in a favorable way. Okay, my website is www.abookintime.net. Welcome back. Thank you very much. It's truly an honor to have you here again today. Thank you, Walter. It is my honor to be here today. I am so happy to be here. And Craig says, day 4, and we're still eager to delve into your books and creativity. Thank you, Craig. I really appreciate that comment, because I'm just as eager to talk about them. I love what I've written. I love this topic, and I love to hopefully inspire people. And I know some of these topics are as simple as can be, but they are so vital to success. And yesterday we talked about being positively approachable. Think of how approachable you are for others to come to you. They might want something that you have, a skill, some knowledge that you have that you have to share with others, and just make sure that you're open and available so that they can come to you and get that from you. Shelley says, I'm sure the viewers are happy to listen to your insights. Well, thank you for that vote of confidence, Shelley. I hope so. I hope that I'm able to provide something out there that might be inspirational, motivational. Let's see. So we also discussed yesterday about an open body language and having an open mind to different perspectives, because we all have different ways of thinking. And let's see. And also we envision. Yesterday we did a little bit of envisioning about putting yourself in the position of being a leader and wondering, are you approachable? Can people approach you? And then in the other position, where is there anyone that you see that you can't approach, and maybe wondering why, or who can you approach, and can you see the difference of the two? So it's something to really think about there. But now on to today's topic, which is from Step 2, Success is Elemental. And Will's going to help me here today, because the topic is valuing other people, and I value my friend Will. So Will, can you think of any times when you either were valued or were not valued in your past?
Both. Often, whether it's business owner, whether it's an employee, or just interrelating with other people. Two things come to mind.
Elizabeth says, I'm honored to listen to your discussion about your ideologies and craft. Thank you, Elizabeth. I really appreciate that.
Two things that I've sorted out. I used to take it personally, and now I have kind of a 95%, 5% rule. It's 95% where the other person is, 5% where I am. And this seems to come into play in lots of areas. Besides work environment, And I think an open door policy is important. I think you need to be approachable, although you have to have limits, is important. If not, then it sets up a barrier. Whereas if you can set it up ahead of time and give people an expectation, then they're going to have something to live up to. Now that I realize I'm like that 5% person, my reactions are a lot more reasonable. What I was thinking of is Ian came through, and I had a good friend who lost lots of screens on her lanai. It's a two-man job, and I knew she was the type of person who was going to put them together with or without. And so, go ahead.
What do you think is the most important ingredient for success?
I'll wrap. Basically, I helped her. It gave me great satisfaction to help her replace the screens. I returned back to the ranch where I lived. Lots and lots of branches and things down everywhere, and decided, instead of just sitting inside in the dark, no electricity, no AC, no anything, I started picking up branches I could manage and just hauling them to the curb, making a stack where it would be easier to pick up, and management. And the manager of the property, and also the maintenance manager, came by in their little golf cart and basically told me, stop, don't do that, cease and desist. And it's like, I'm trying to help because I'm just trying to be a good neighbor. And it was difficult to feel valued at that point in time for my effort. I almost felt like I was chastised for doing what seemed to be the right thing.
Well, thank you for sharing that story, Will. Will and I both experienced quite a few hurricanes in our lifetime here.
Yeah.
And the worst was Ian, which just went through. We actually got the eye of the hurricane. So I tell you what, though, you can really see the value in people. Yes. During a disaster like that. We've seen probably more than anyone should ever see during something like that. But it's amazing how the community comes together, how the neighbors start valuing each other and valuing safety even, and without having electricity for so long, and even homes. A lot of homes were destroyed, and it was a pretty rough situation. But there's always a silver lining to something like that. And there were so many amazing things that came out of it. And you could see people valuing each other. And it was an amazing thing to see. And I am going to get back to that main ingredient for success. What advice can you give those of us who are very closed off? Those who can't trust people easily because they fear they might connect with the wrong crowd? Well, that is those are closed off. That is very difficult because sometimes people really put on a false face, or there are some people that do that, and it is kind of hard to trust. You do have to keep tight sometimes. And
I never met a con artist I didn't like.
Yeah, there are con charmers out there that are a difficult personality to deal with. Hi, Jill. I'm tuned in and ready to explore the motivations behind your book. Thank you, Kimberly. I really appreciate that. I'm going to make sure I try to get these questions answered. And I'll first get back to the success ingredient. I think the ingredients to success are more simple than most people maybe would really think about or consider. Because even valuing other people, if you're in a business, say you own your own business and you don't value your people, you're not going to be successful. So something as simple as valuing your employees is such an important factor.
It can also be something you can incorporate in everything. For quite a while now, virtually everybody I come in contact with, I just tell them, you take really good care of me. If it's the person packing my groceries or at the doctor's office or wherever, I compliment them. You guys always take good care of me. It not only is positive for them, it gives them a positive expectation to live up to, but I feel good about myself complimenting other people.
Very good. Yes. And even as we talked about yesterday, being approachable, that is huge as far as success. There are so many ways to be successful. And I think it all boils down to character qualities. How you are inside. Are you kind? Do you value people? Are you approachable? It can be as simple as that. Yet, as Cassandra mentioned, sometimes it's difficult because you don't know what's going on with the other person, and yet you can't control that other person. You still have to protect yourself and be who you are and know where your boundaries are so you don't let them cross your boundaries. And we had talked about that yesterday too. Just make sure you know your values and beliefs and never let anyone cross that line. You can be kind and generous, maybe not have expectations, but there are false prophets out there, false people who might tend to take advantage of you in different personality types. So you do always want to watch out for that. But no matter what, be yourself. Don't let them control how you're acting. If you want to be kind because that's your nature, just be who you are. And you can never go wrong by that. But also know your boundaries and don't give more than you want to. If you want to give and somebody takes the money and never gives it back to you, don't worry about that. You gave, and that was your heart, and appreciate the positivity from being the one giving. Ella commented, "Hi, Jill. What do you think is the biggest challenge individuals can encounter within the process of reprogramming the mind?"
Inventory.
I
brought it up before. You've got to know where you are, and now you have the tools you can pick it up anywhere and figure out where you are and simply build on whatever's next. But you've got to figure out where you are, your belief system, and then become aware of what I call knee-jerk reactions. I was kind of joking with Jill. I discovered yesterday I had a kitchen accident, and I discovered I have different, sometimes obscene verbal responses based on how serious it was. And I didn't think about it. It was just a knee-jerk reaction. And I noticed that because I'm trying to clean that up. But in reality, if you can do this inventory and establish where you are, and then realize that a lot of your reactions are they're knee-jerk. They're just pre-programmed. This is my belief system. Belief is just something that you think over and over and over again. How you respond is like your opinion. It's like putting your belief into words. And then you just respond, and we can go through our whole lives. Driving, you probably notice 20% maybe of what's going on. The rest of it is automatic. And it's your life. It controls your life. And if you can do this inventory of figuring out where you are and what you're doing and eventually why, you change your life. And again, that's what Jill's put together. It's step by step on specific qualities, a book full of qualities. Establish where you are, establish what you need to work on, and run with it. This series will change your life.
Thank you, Will. And I didn't ask him to say that, by the way.
I'm at $20.
But yes, I do think there are so many negative thoughts that maybe we've built up for years and years and years. And sometimes it's hard to overcome all of them because I know I mentioned it a few times before, but those are the sticky thoughts. We always, if you get 10 compliments and one critical comment, you're going to remember that critical comment. Those are the sticky ones. The really good comments, as good as they make us feel, sometimes we let them go quicker when we really shouldn't. We should appreciate them more and not let these negative ones stick to us. But I think that is one of the toughest part in the programming, is allowing yourself to get rid of those negative ones and believing in yourself for good things. Because we often like to hold on to regret or guilt. Guilt is such a big thing that we often hold on to, but we need to let it go and free ourselves and free our minds and our thoughts. Thomas commented, how did you juggle writing various materials? I believe some authors may even struggle finishing a single book. Well, Will's a big advocate. He brings it up all the time because I was working on stocks, and I thought I was doing really well in these certain categories. And I said, Will, I think I'm going to write a book about this. And then I changed my strategy, and then that started doing well. So I think I'm going to write a book on this. And then all of a sudden, he jokes that I said I'm going to write a book. Next thing you know, I wrote 8. So I don't know. I had so many things to say. I just kind of couldn't wait and started writing. And I almost don't remember how it happened. I just had so much to say, and it all seemed to make sense, and it was logical. And I had to find an endpoint to one. And then I thought, wow, this is a sequence. And I went with it because it all made sense. When you find where the programming is in flaw and you want to fix it. So you take the time to go down, analyze the thoughts, replace them, reframe them. And then you put the right energy. You replace your energy because you can't create anymore. You take the negative energy, you turn it into positive energy, and you start elevating your mind. Yes. When you elevate your mind, you open your mind to new perspectives, to new ideas. You can both consciously and subconsciously start leading towards success and getting so many new and good things in your mind. Even as you sleep, when your mind is free and open, you have these thoughts and amazing things that are already working towards your success. The more you think about the right things, the more you start to get the right answers, and you problem solve more and just new ideas. And then you have to go ahead, hurry and fill it with the right stuff, which is step 2. Success is elemental. And like I said, these can be such basic concepts, but they are the most important ones. They're the ones you want to program in your mind. Different leadership skills along the way are very important, but you need to program the character qualities into who you are. Yes. And let them be the basis of who you are. So thank you very, very much for that.
I watched Jill just let it flow. She didn't necessarily think about it. It just came to her. I was reading, watching another author, and somebody asked him, well, what do you do when you have writer's block? And I think, well, if anybody asked Jill, what do you do with writer's block? She'd say, what's that? It just flowed.
Thank you. Well, I think this one's for you. JP says, that inventory thing sounds like a good tool for self-awareness. Asking our loved ones or friends about how we respond to things could also help us to be aware of the things about ourselves.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They're in that 95%, and they have thoughts and ideas and beliefs and agendas. I would be more inclined to look inside and do I feel good? Is it working? If I feel good and it's working, yahoo. How many doctors and attorneys are absolutely burned out at age 40 or 50 because mom wanted to be able to sit down at the bridge table and say, my son, the doctor, my son, the attorney. I spent the majority of my life trying to live up to other people's expectations and what they decided. And what I've turned out to be has nothing to do with it whatsoever. So getting outside feedback, yes. Tamper it with what makes sense and what works for you. Do your own inventory, and then establish where you are, and then decide where you want to be, where you want to go. There's the recipe. And I can't wait for the next book, because if you've ever done a souffle and done everything just right and had it fall, yeah.
That book is going to be so fun to write. I can't wait to write it. We just can't find the time yet, but I look forward to it. So, Will, how can you show value to other people? What are ways that you can show this value, which is so important to success? Can you think of any ways to show value?
Make it a habit. When you first start out, it is uncomfortable. I started with just telling people, you take good care of me. I appreciate that. And then look for opportunities. And it doesn't have to be a big thing, a simple thing. Ran across a guy in Publix parking lot, and he got in his groceries, getting ready to get on his motorcycle. And I just went up to him. He had a full red beard, and it just looked really good. And I told him, I don't normally appreciate beards on guys, but yours looks really good. And he just blossomed. And I find this in just simple things with compliments and such. it makes them feel better. It makes you feel better. And it elevates the whole situation. But again, just deciding, doing an inventory, whether you do it or not, and how you can implement it, and just look for opportunities. People just, they shine.
Will is very good about being kind to others and kind words, kind affirmations. You can always count on Will. He's very good with all that. Sophie, there are really many factors that influence personal development. I believe this is why the theme is something people can endlessly discuss. Oh, I agree with you, Sophie. Thank you for that comment. Yes, this is something that is always relevant, always practical, and always, these are the things that lead to success or lack of success. Other ways to show respect are just by respecting other people and listening to them,
Yes.
showing empathy. It's so important to just show, even if you don't understand how they're feeling, just show that you're trying to understand how they're feeling, or that you appreciate that they do feel that way. And just showing compassion and being open, listening to them and appreciating them. By collaborating, you can work together with people and show that you appreciate what they're going through and what some of their needs may be. It
shows value, that you acknowledge and you appreciate the value, and people appreciate being appreciated, like listening to people. So many times you're in a conversation and they're just waiting for you to take a breath so they can jump in and tell you what works or is important to them. And if you can really listen, not when I'm talking, people know what I know. If I keep my mouth closed and I'm listening, I know not only what I know, but what other people know too. So I benefit and they benefit, because a lot of times you've got these thoughts just floating around, and in order to be able to express them, you've got to put them in a logical order, in logical sentences, and everybody benefits. So yeah, I agree. Valuing other people, seeing the value in them. And some folks, it's kind of tough because of some of the decisions they've made, but it improves the whole situation.
Very true. What is your idea of a successful person? Well, thank you, James, for the question. I almost would say that success needs to be defined by what their goal is. If they wanted what they want to accomplish. My version of success is different than Will's version
Absolutely.
Of success, and his is different than mine probably. So I think within yourself, if you feel like you are where you want to be, then that's a success. And it doesn't have to be extravagant. If you're happy where you are, whether financially or spiritually, professionally, personally, I think everyone has their own definition. And that's something that you need to be content with. And if not, then make some changes to get there, but enjoy the journey of getting there and make it a fun process.
And look inside for it. Look inside for what's successful to you and not to other people. Like Jill said, what's important to me is important to me. What's important to her, what's important to her. But don't try to dictate to others or allow them to dictate to you what success is. Decide what works for you, what makes you happy.
Henrietta asks, what advice can you give to those who are struggling to be responsive as opposed to being reactive? Well, that is really the basis of Elevate Your Mind to Success, because when you have programmed your response already, and as I like to say, reprogram your pre-program, then you are responding how you want to respond, and you don't even have to think about it. So you're not being reactive to the emotional side of it. You're being responsive to the logical side of it, what you've programmed in your mind. And a lot of times, in my opinion, feelings aren't the best way to respond to something. I am very analytical based on logic. So I want my responses to be based on my values, my beliefs, what I program into my mind. So my automatic responses are what I'm going to approve of, as opposed to an emotional reaction. So my answer to that would be to just work on finding the source of your thoughts and your programming, and knowing what your values and beliefs are and where you want your responses to be, and then start to program your mind that way. And it will take repetition, and there'll be good times and bad times, but it is a process, and it will take some practical applications and time. But with that time, you will develop it into a habit and an automatic response. And I see I'm already down to
Speaking of time.
1 minute. Speaking of time, we're out of it. So I want to thank you all for being here today.
Yes.
I want to thank Readers Magnet for
Yes.
everything that they're doing. They've been amazing. This program is so amazing and so fun. We appreciate being here. I want to thank my guest, Will Brody, today
Pleasure.
for being here with me. Please stay tuned tomorrow. We're going to talk about being captivating to others. And this is all still part of my step 2, Success is Elemental book. So thank you again for being here today. Stop by my website, www.abookintime.net. And I look forward to seeing you or hearing from you tomorrow.